All right, let's talk about something fascinating. Every single device you own that connects to a network, your phone, your laptop, even your smart TV, it doesn't just have one address, it has two. Today, we're going to break down exactly what they are, why on earth you need both of them, and how they work together in this really elegant way.
So here's what we're going to cover. We'll kick things off with a super simple analogy. Then we'll get into the weeds of what a MAC address really is. After that, we'll see these addresses in action, both in your house and out on the big, wide internet. Then we'll put them head-to-head for a clear comparison, and wrap it all up with a little something you can try out for yourself.
Okay, let's dive right in. It all really starts with this one fundamental and kind of puzzling question.
Seriously, how can your laptop need two different identifiers just to work? It sounds a little redundant, right? But it's actually a brilliant system, and the absolute best way to wrap your head around it is with a simple real-world comparison.
Just think about it like this. You have your name, right? Let's say your name is Callie. That name is with you no matter where you go in the world. It's permanent. It's a fixed part of who you are. But your home address? Well, that can change. If you move from one apartment to another, your location, your temporary address gets updated. Your name stays the same, but your address is totally flexible.
And that is exactly how it works for our devices. The MAC address is like the device's permanent name. It never, ever changes. The IP address, on the other hand, is its current home address on whatever network it's connected to. It's temporary, and it's ready to change every single time you connect somewhere new.
So, now that we know every device has this permanent name, let's zoom in a little. Let's find out what that name actually is and where it comes from.
So, what does MAC even stand for? Well, the textbook answer is Media Access Control, and its whole job in life is to be the unique local address for a piece of networking hardware.
Now, this is the really crucial part. A MAC address isn't just some number assigned by software, it's a physical address that is literally burned into the circuit board of the network card when it's made in the factory. It's designed to be globally unique, kind of like a fingerprint. In theory, no two devices in the entire world should ever have the same one. And that's exactly why you'll often hear people call it the hardware address or the physical address.
And here's what one looks like in the wild. It's a 12-digit number written in hexadecimal, which just means it uses numbers from 0 to 9 and also the letters A through F. And you'll almost always see it formatted in 6 pairs, separated by colons or sometimes dashes.
But what's so cool is that this isn't just a random string of characters. It has a really clever structure. The first half, those first 6 digits, that's called the Organizationally Unique Identifier, or OUI. This part actually tells you who made the device, if it's Apple or Dell or Samsung. The second half is the unique serial number that the manufacturer assigned to that one specific network card.
Okay, this is where it all clicks. This is where the rubber meets the road. We've got the permanent name, the MAC address, and the temporary name, the IP address. Now let's see how they team up to get your data where it needs to go, both inside your own home and all the way across the world. So imagine your computer wants to send a file to your printer, and they're both on your home Wi-Fi. Your computer knows the printer's temporary IP address, but for that final local delivery, it needs the permanent MAC address. So your computer basically broadcasts a little message called an ARP request, and it's essentially shouting out to the whole network, hey, who is the IP address 192.168.1.10? Tell me your MAC address. The printer hears this, and it replies, that's me, here's my MAC. And just like that, your computer can now send the file directly to it.
But what happens when you want to go to Google.com? Your computer is smart enough to see that Google's IP address isn't on your local network. So what does it do? It can't send the data directly to Google's MAC address. That's way too far away. Instead, it sends the data packet to the MAC address of your home router. It's like handing a letter to the postman. Your router is the gateway to the outside world, and it takes over, forwarding that packet to the next router on the long journey to Google servers.
And this right here is probably the most important concept to get. As your data is flying across the internet, the final destination IP address, Google server, that never changes. That's the end goal. But the MAC address, that changes at every single hop. It's only used for the point-to-point delivery between each router along the path.
Okay, so we've seen them in action. Now let's put everything we've talked about side by side just to make the differences totally crystal clear.
You can really see the stark contrast here. The MAC address is physical, it's permanent, and it operates locally at what's called layer 2 of the network stack. Meanwhile, the IP address is logical, it's temporary, and it's designed for global communication at layer 3. One is burned into the hardware at the factory, the other is just loaned out to you by your router every time you connect.
All right, let's bring it all home with the key things you need to remember and a really simple exercise you can try right now on your own computer.
So, if you remember anything, remember this. MAC is the permanent who, and it's used for local delivery. IP is the temporary where, and it's used for the global journey. Here's a great way to think about it. The IP address gets your letter to the right city, but it's the MAC address that gets it to the right mailbox on that specific street. And that ARP process we talked about, that's just the local directory that connects the two. Now, why not see this for yourself? It's super easy. If you're on a Windows computer, just open up the command prompt and type ipconfig/all. Scroll through and look for a physical address. Boom, that's your device's permanent name. Then in that same window, type arp-a. This will show you your computer's own personal address book, a list of all the IP and MAC addresses of other devices it's recently talked to on your home network.
And all of this leaves us with one final, pretty interesting question. We know that temporary IP address is assigned automatically by your router, but what's the magic behind that process? How does your phone get a brand new, perfectly valid address in an instant every single time you join a Wi-Fi network? Well, that's a story for another time. Thanks for joining me.